싶으신가요? 영어가 제가 생각하기에는 참 중요한 언어예요. 알아두면은 참 필요한 언어인데 왜냐하면 영어는 세계 공용어이고 또 세계 공용어이다 보니까 모든 문헌들이 영어로 번역이 되어서 많은 자료를 정확하게 입수할 수 있다는 장점이 있어요. 이 비디오를 통해서 제가 영어를 어떻게 배웠는지 알려드리겠습니다. Hi guys, welcome back. My journey of learning English goes back to my 7th grade. I was in Korea. In Korea, all students learn English from grade 7 all the way to grade 12. Things might have changed quite a bit when it comes to English education in Korea nowadays. But when I was in school 30 plus years ago, English instruction was not that ideal. After learning English for 6 years in school, my family moved to Canada. But when I arrived in Canada, I couldn't really use English to communicate with the people. I couldn't hear anything and I couldn't speak anything, and so when I went back to school, I was placed back to high school because my English was not that good. I was placed in level 2 of the ESL, English as a Second Language program. ESL level 1 was designated for students who didn't even know the alphabet. I was a pretty good student in Korea, however, it really didn't really make a difference when I arrived in Canada. So what went wrong, you might ask, with the education that I received in Korea? And I think that it really did not really help with me learning English because it was a grammar-based approach. Grammar-based approach to learning a language is a kind of like an old system, I think. Some people do very well, but I think that generally speaking, when you focus on grammar when learning a new language, I think that it's not an ideal approach to learning a language. Then how did I learn English? I contribute my learning of English to these major components. First, listening. Second, reading. From my experience, language learning comes down to these two things, listening and reading. First comes listening. It's very important that you know what the language sounds like, and also that you repeat and imitate the sounds of the native speakers. Once you have a general idea of how the language works, then it's time to develop vocabulary. And I think that the best way to develop vocabulary is through reading. First, listening. How did I develop my English listening skills? I developed my English skills mainly at school and at the store that my family happened to be running at the time. I paid attention to how the teacher was speaking when she was using expressions that I didn't know of, that I thought would be useful to know, then I would take down notes. I also did a lot of self-talking outside the classroom. I would go over the notes that I took, and then I would self-talk in front of the mirror, trying to simulate a real-life situation. I watched a lot of movies, but I watched movies only if they were interesting to me. I think that whatever you watch, I think it's vitally important that you like the content. It has to be always interesting for you to learn. If you are trying to learn English and would like to enhance your English listening ability, I would suggest that you watch movies or videos that are of your interest. And secondly, watch the content at a reduced speed with the closed caption on so that you can actually follow the storyline, and also you can tell which words are being spoken. I don't think that it really helps that you're just watching without knowing anything or having no idea about what's going on. You need to have something to focus on specifically in order for you to gain knowledge from it. Now, about reading. I read a lot to build vocabulary. What did I read? I read a lot of fairy tales and books that were very easy, books that were at my level. I think it's important to read books or anything in print at your level. You need to be reading books at your level. How do you know the book is at your level? I think that as a general rule, if you have more than 10 words on a page that you don't know, I think it's considered a little difficult. So if you can find a book or any kind of a magazine or a story that has fewer than 10 words, ideally 5 words that you need to look up, and I think that that will be the ideal level of a book for you. Now, how do you keep track of all the words or expressions that you are learning from a book? I think there are 2 methods. My method was to write down all the words and the meanings that I don't know of in the book. I would write down the meaning in the margin of the book. The second method would be you write down the word and then its meaning in a separate notebook. I tried both, but I think that for me, I like to write down the words and the meanings inside the book. The reason being, it is so much easier to memorize and learn in the context. If you just write down the words separately in a notebook, then it's like learning a word in isolation. You need to have an association when there's some kind of a storyline. It is so much easier to recall the word or its meaning. In summary, to learn English, I listened a lot, read a lot, and did a lot of things to improve my English skills. I took a lot of classes, both in high school and in college. I deliberately chose programs or classes that would force me to speak in front of others, force me to present in front of my classmates, and also I would choose a program that would force me to write essays in English. And I think that it's all these things that I've done that contributed to my speaking of English. Eventually, I became a teacher and taught elementary school and for about 10 years, and that really helped me to develop my English skills as well. Even though I lived in English-speaking nations for 30 plus years, to this day I am still learning and am still making a conscious effort to further develop my English. Making a YouTube video like this certainly helps me with my speaking and writing, because I have to write a script and then practice a little bit. And I think that every little bit of that you do towards learning pays off in the end. So if you are really intent on learning English or any other language, I would encourage you to start where you are and build up step by step from there, believing that all your efforts will pay off one day. And when you cross that finish line, you will be so happy that you will put in all the effort, and you will really enjoy speaking the new language that you're learning. For me, learning English was such a blessing because when you learn to speak and read English, you have access to so much good information. You have access to so many excellent literary works, and you can really study the subject that you really wanted to study in English. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like it and subscribe my channel so that you don't miss out on any of the future content that I'll be putting out. And please share your comments so that I know how better I can help you next time. See you in the next video. Bye. Adios. Au revoir. Ciao.